Arise and shine. A very good morning to you on this 22nd day of October 2024. Just around 8 days or 9 days before we close the month and head to November. This is the new dawn here on K24 TV, and I am Ian K24. Now, this is a very, very crucial day here in the country where, of course, the courts are set to hear the petition filed by the National Assembly and the Attorney General regarding the conservatory orders issued by the High Court, to be specific, Justice Chacha Mwita, in regards to the impeachment of Deputy President or former or ousted Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua and the, of course, swearing in of the Deputy President designate, Interior CS Professor Kithure Kindiki. Now, the Deputy President's or Rigathi Gachagua's team is seemingly in, or rather at loggerheads with the judiciary, his team questioning how two petitions found its way before the three-judge bench without the approval of the Chief Justice, according to an argument made by the legal team representing the former Madira lawmaker. Now that, of course, comes at a time when the Deputy President or former Deputy President, Rigathi Gachagua, has been summoned by the DCI later on today to shed light on the assassination claims that he made during Mashujaa Day after being discharged from the Karen Hospital. Remember, on that particular day, the Rigathi Gachagua did indeed claim that, or allege that on 30th of August, there was a plot to poison him in Kisumu County. And he says his room was bagged. Now, a separate date on the 3rd of September 2024, Gachagua again says there was a plot to poison him or poison a meal that he was supposed to take together with the Council of Elders. Now, whether these allegations are true or not, they are very, very serious allegations that touch with a person of a very high stature, was then the Deputy President. And that, of course, further deepens the row between Rigathi Gachagua and his former boss, President William Samoei Ruto. Gachagua said on Sunday, if at all anything happens to him, then there's only one person who should be held responsible: the Commander-in-Chief, President William Ruto. All this is happening even as the country is staring at what people say is a constitutional crisis. And I say that because, as it stands, this is a very pertinent and serious question. Just who is the Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya as we speak? Now, a section of our learned friends do say, as it stands, Rigathi Gachagua is still the Deputy President. Now, some argue he is not, because he was impeached by the Senate. Now, some say we don't have a Deputy President because Professor Kithure Kindiki, the Deputy President designate, who was approved by members of the National Assembly. To be specific, 236 members of the National Assembly voted to approve Professor Kithure Kindiki's appointment as the Deputy President by the President in a communication made to the House on Friday. Now, because he's not been sworn in, he's not the Deputy President. And because Rigathi Gachagua was impeached by the Senate, or rather by the National Assembly, and that was confirmed by the Senate or upheld by the Senate, then he's also not the Deputy President. So, are we looking at a scenario, or do we find ourselves in a scenario that the President does not have the principal assistant? We'll be seeking to answer all those questions here this particular morning on New Dawn. Be sure to stay with us until the very end at exactly 8 a.m. this particular morning, just to get your answers from our panelists. Here, of course, I'll be joined by Mr. Odoyo Widi, Wilson Sosion, and the embattled Deputy President's lawyer. Ndegwa Njiru was part of the team representing the second in command before the National Assembly and the Senate. Even as the former Madira lawmaker, or the former Deputy President, or the ousted Deputy President, looks at the court. Now the big question is Rigathi Gachagua looking at the courts to reinstate him or to clear his name? Because if the impeachment stands, then he cannot even vie for political office. That again depends on his political ambitions. And we've seen leaders allied to the son of Nyeri County saying the entire process of impeaching the Deputy President was flawed and the law was not followed to the letter. That is the argument that they will be taking to the courts. Remember, after the Deputy President, or the ousted Deputy President, fell sick and did not take to the stand to be, of course, to defend himself and to be cross-examined by the lead counsel of the National Assembly, that is Siaya Governor Agri James Orengo. He was taken sick and he was admitted at Karen Hospital. And the Senate voted to continue with the sittings and conclude the matter. Whether the DP was to come or not. And after they voted, this legal team representing the Deputy President did decide we are not continuing and will not continue to sit in this particular house without the orders of our client. And so they walked out. And that is part of what they will be presenting in court in their defense, arguing against the impeachment, which they say is a flawed process. Now, like I said, we'll be talking about that. But as of now, we just take time to look at what is making headlines in the news this particular morning. Remember, this is a show that you can watch live across our social media platforms at K24 TV on all the social media platforms. Now, impeached Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua is questioning how two cases that gave him a reprieve have found their way before a three-judge bench in what he believes is without the approval of Chief Justice Martha Koome. Now, while directions on whether Kithure Kindiki could be sworn in or not is set to be given by the bench today, Gachagua is hinting of a possible collision with the political class as it coincides with Kapseret MP Oscar Sudi's remarks that Kindiki would be sworn in at 10 a.m. today. As well, Church now reports the matter before the Deputy Registrar of the High Court for investigation. The matter is with the Deputy Registrar of the High Court for investigations.
Impeached Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua is not taking Kapseret MP Oscar Sudi's remarks lightly that his successor Kithure Kindiki will be sworn in on Tuesday 10 a.m.
Hata huyu ndugu yetu Kindiki tumempatia kiti. Yeye kuanzia jana, kuanzia akiwa waziri alikuwa waziri wa Kenya, sio waziri wa Tharaka-Nithi. Amepewa sasa jukumu kubwa kuwa naibu wa rais. Na tunamalizana na hiyo maneno Tuesday by saa 4.
He's now questioning how the two petitions that gave him a reprieve have suddenly been fast-tracked and are before a three-judge bench looking into other petitions. The first one is petition E565 of 2024 before Justice Chacha Mwita, who issued conservatory orders at the Milimani High Court, and yet another one that issued similar orders at the Kerugoya High Court. They are both before the three-judge bench, which consists of Justice Eric Ogola, Anthony Mrima, and Frida Mugambe, in what Gachagua believes is not with the approval of the Chief Justice Martha Koome. The directions and hearing of the petitions are slated for Tuesday following Saturday sittings of the bench, which also raises eyebrows on who approved the bench to sit on a weekend. Through his lawyer Kamodhon Jomo, Gachagua is now suspecting a possible collision by the three-judge bench and Sudi's remarks on the swearing-in of Kithure Kindiki, who was nominated and approved as Deputy President.
Hata huyu ndugu yetu Kindiki tumempatia kiti. Yeye kuanzia jana, kuanzia akiwa waziri alikuwa waziri wa Kenya, sio waziri wa Tharaka-Nithi. Amepewa sasa jukumu kubwa kuwa naibu wa rais. Na tunamalizana na hiyo maneno Tuesday by saa 4.
Gachagua wants investigations into the matter and transparency in the whole handling of these matters that touches heavily on the Constitution. It is now a wait-and-see situation on whether Oscar Sudi's words will come to pass, as he was the first one to hint on the removal from office of Rigathi Gachagua as the second in command. Joel Chacha, K24 TV, Nairobi.
Now, still on the same matter is that impeached Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua is facing more troubles and battles to fight after the UDA party leadership, led by acting SG Hassan Omar, affirmed their earlier threats to kick him out of the party. According to Omar, the deputy party position can only be held by a deputy president, which places Deputy President designate Kithure Kindiki as next in line for the second in command in the party leadership chain. Martin Opio reports on Gachagua's remaining options, which could see him be sent into political oblivion.
On Tuesday, the High Court is set to convene with inter-parties in the cases challenging the impeachment of Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua from 11 a.m. The cases being among the last straw of hope that impeached Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua can cling on in a bid to save his political career, presents a do-or-die moment for Gachagua, who nonetheless has the option of heading to Court of Appeal and later the Supreme Court if the lower courts decide to uphold Senate's resolution of the impeachment.
Dawa ni moja. Dawa, sababu nchi ya Pokot ni kubwa. Dawa ya huyu mtu ni kumuondoa. Kwa sababu serikali lazima tuingie. So, tukashikana na wenzangu na tukaondoa huyo mzee, tukamwambia tafadhali nenda ukae nyumbani. Sasa tukiongea hivi, naibu wa rais wa Jamhuri ya Kenya ni rafiki yetu, mtu wetu ambaye ametutembelea, ambaye anaitwa Profesa Abraham Kithure Kindiki. Sasa huyo ndio naibu wa rais wa Jamhuri ya Kenya. Hiyo ingine ya kotini, hiyo ni ya entertainment.
Gachagua has indicated that he is not going down without a fight, maintaining that he was the deputy president following the conservatory orders by Milimani Court and later a Kerugoya Court.
There are orders asking that Rigathi Gachagua remain in office until this matter is heard and determined. Let it be.
In the event that court upholds the Senate decision, Gachagua's fight might be dealt a blow, as it will spell the end of the road for his political career. The Supreme Court affirmed Justice Mumbi Ngugi's ruling, which instructed that elected executive cannot continue to attend office functions when facing corruption-related charges or even being impeached. The ruling was later upheld by the Supreme Court. This is in line with the Chapter 6 of the Leadership and Integrity Act, where the judges argued that in releasing an executive in a criminal case, conditions must be imposed that protect the public interest. Gachagua has been keen to take over the mountain and consequently succeed President William Ruto as president, but his future political ambitions could dim in the event the courts fail to side with him.
I didn't know President William Ruto can be that vicious. I am shocked by how vicious a man I helped to be president, a man that I believed in, a man that I was persecuted when supporting him, could be so vicious against me when I'm literally fighting for my life in hospital. How cruel can a man be?
Further compounding his troubles is if the courts upholds the Senate decision, then Gachagua is facing an ouster from the party that propelled him to leadership. While at a UDA Youth Leadership Conference in Eldoret on Monday, Party Acting Secretary General Hassan Omar reiterated his previous statement that they will kick Gachagua out of the party.
Kama yeye si naibu wa rais, itabidi ajitenge, atoe nafasi hiyo, mwingine ahudumu kama naibu wa kiongozi wa chama. Hata ilikuwa tumeleta mageuzi fulani ya kikatiba kuhakikisha kwamba yule anayekuwa naibu wa kiongozi wa chama anakuwa yeye alafu ana wasaidizi wawili ili tusiweke watatu kwa ngazi moja.
Hii process vile inaendelea hivi, chini ya wiki mbili huyo naibu wa chama tutamngatua. Na kwa sasa ambaye ni naibu wa chama tuko naye Profesa Kithure Kindiki. Yule Rigathi Gachagua tutakuwa na mkutano wetu wa NEC na tunamngatua kwa sababu yeye hazingatii maadili ya chama chetu cha UDA.
According to Omar, The position of the deputy party leader can only be held by a sitting deputy president, and consequently, Deputy President-designate Kithure Kindiki should take up the post upon convening the National Executive Committee meeting.
Dhamira ama spirit ya katiba yetu ni kwamba yule atakayehudumu kama naibu wa rais ndio atakayehudumu kama naibu wa kiongozi wa chama.
If the court save Gachagua, the predicament remains on how the duo will work together, given their strained relations. Gachagua has alleged a serious plot to assassinate him by the state.
On 30th of August, in Kisumu, undercover security agents entered my room in Kisumu and bagged it, and one of them tried to poison my food. But we detected it, and we were able to escape the scheme. I was supposed to be killed through poison.
The concerted efforts to push him out of the executive presents a serious quagmire for the second-in-command, who is now hanging in the office just through a court order as his successor waits eagerly to take over his seat. In light of the strained and powerless Rigathi Gachagua, with no security, staff to attend to him, or even vehicles to aid his mobility, Gachagua's options, according to political analysts, if the courts hand him a reprieve, will be to resign, get his retirement perks, and still manage to find another day for his political career. Should the courts decide otherwise, Gachagua might end up as a kingmaker, as he will not be eligible to hold any public office in the future. Martin Opio, K24 TV, Nairobi.
A story that continues to unfold each and every day. Now, the ouster of Rigathi Gachagua as the second-in-command and the approval of Professor Kithure Kindiki as the DP designate by the National Assembly has raised questions over a possible constitutional crisis. The billion-dollar question is, who between Rigathi Gachagua and Kithure Kindiki is the legitimate second-in-command amid ongoing legal battles in the corridors of justice? After the Senate voted to oust Rigathi Gachagua as the deputy president, the approval of Kithure Kindiki as the DP designate by the National Assembly threw a spanner into the work in the former Mathira lawmakers' camp, a move that further dealt a blow to Gachagua's dwindling political fortunes. However, the conservatory orders issued by the High Court gave the then bedridden ousted DP some hope, there seemingly being light at the end of the tunnel. With Gachagua's ouster published on the Kenya Gazette late into the night on Thursday, followed by the approval of Kindiki Friday midday, following the conservatory orders issued by the High Court, question is, just who is the country's second-in-command?
His Excellency Rigathi Gachagua, that has not changed until all these processes come to an end.
His sentiments were echoed by Rigathi Gachagua's counsel, Victor Swanya, who argues that after the orders were issued, the status quo remains.
There's no constitutional crisis because already we have the deputy president. I don't want to imagine the worst, but even if that officer is not there, okay, still you have these timelines provided by law. So the question is, why are we hurrying?
The conservatory order is not the only thing raising eyebrows, but also whether the nominee met all the requirements. According to the requirements, one must be cleared by the IEBC to be nominated to be the deputy president. In a letter to the National Assembly, President William Ruto noted that he had received communication from the IEBC that indeed Kindiki was qualified. However, with no IEBC in place, only by the Secretariat, the question remains, is the Secretariat mandated to clear candidates? Various lawyers in the country have delved into the conversation on who is the second-in-command at the moment. Former LSK President Eric Theory, in his view, maintains that Gachagua still is the sitting deputy president. Kisumu Senator lawyer Tom Ojenda, who voted to oust Gachagua, argues that the court cannot overturn Parliament's decision and that Gachagua stands impeached and therefore isn't the deputy president. Lawyer Morara Omoke, in his view, says Gachagua will cease being DP once all cases have been heard and determined.
You've called him the former deputy president. I would tell you it's too early to say that. The courts have something to say before this process comes to an end. So we are now moving proper to the judicial process, and the courts have to look at the process from beginning to end. And as we spoke previously, there's a lot of failures on the part of the National Assembly.
His sentiments have been echoed by lawyer Miguna through his X account, saying that the seat can only fall vacant once Gachagua has exhausted all legal avenues, and as it is, he still remains the second in command. Ian Keitani, K24 TV, Nairobi. Now, the owner of the 7-story building that collapsed in Kahawa West on Sunday is still on the run, with affected tenants claiming he has gone missing and is unreachable. As Emilia Kisienya now reports, details from the Nairobi County government, as well as the Kenya Red Cross, of those rescued and those probably still trapped remain scanty.
A day after the Kahawa West 7-story building tragedy, rescue operations are ongoing. And as the Kenya Red Cross team and Nairobi County officials clear the debris, we meet some of the affected tenants. A total of about 40 tenants, some with their families, were rendered homeless. We hide the identity upon their request.
This is a big loss because watu wako traumatized, but we thank God. Lives ziko, but people are traumatized. We are all traumatized. Yeah, we don't know what to do next. We really don't know.
Hata sasa nimepoteza vitu zote isipokuwa tu nguo za watoto, sina chochote. Vitu zangu ndio zile huko, ile ni gas, hizi ni TV, hizi ni viti. As I've lost everything.
Kwa sasa hatuna chochote. Hata nguo, mavazi ya watoto, mavazi yetu wenyewe. Ila tunashukuru Mungu tu kwa kutupa uhai. Lakini maisha itakuwa ngumu sana kuanza tena.
They claim the caretaker man in the premises had gone missing and can hardly be traced.
Mwenye nyumba hatumjui sisi. We are dealing with the caretaker. So as we're speaking, we've been trying to call the caretaker, but she's not reachable. So we wanted a discussion to know if anaona tunaweza tusaidia namna gani mwenye nyumba. Makosa iko yetu.
Kuongea ukweli, ukiangalia building upande wa mbele iko very smart. Haina hata any alama. Kumbe huku nyuma kwa basement ndio kulikuwa na shida. Na si atupiti nyuma. So unatoka na barabara, unaingia na gate ya mbele. Ndio baadaye tunaambia huku nyuma kulikuwa na cracks, lakini walikuwa naziziba.
The building had been marked unsafe. However, there was conflicting information from the caretaker who has been manning the premises.
Caretaker alisema ati sijui watu sijui wakaanjo wanataka sijui kuhongwa. Sijui na milioni 2 hizi peana hiyo pesa. Asema hizi peana hiyo pesa. Ati ni siasa. Alisema ni siasa. Sema msihame, hii ni kitu tutamaliza. Ni issues tuko nao na watu wa kanjo.
Meanwhile, details of tenants missing or if they were all found still remains uncertain after the county government and the Kenya Red Cross failed to issue a brief.
Kuna mchina alikuwa analimanini hapa anaweka sewer line. So nasikia ndiye ni kama alinote hiyo nyumba iko na shida. So ndiye akaalert the authority. Au watu wakanjo akakuja ndio akasema watu watoke.
Kuna mtu ambaye anatafuta jamaa yake
iko fununu, kulikuwa na mafundi hapo chini, lakini wanasema ni kama walitoka, lakini hatuko sure by now.
As the rescue operations continue, a building next to the one that collapsed has also been marked as unsafe, with some of the occupants being vacated immediately. As the rescue operations enter day 2, details of the owner of the 7-story building that collapsed continue to be uncertain, as his whereabouts are unknown. Milia Kisienya reporting for K24 TV in Kahawa West, Nairobi County.
That was quite a horrific incident. We do hope that if at all there is anybody that is still trapped, they can be rescued, and those who are in need will eventually get some help. Now, on that note, we just take a brief breather. We'll be back looking at what is making headlines in the local dailies this particular morning. Don't go away.
Catch every thrilling moment of the English Premier